Dr. Lisa worked late that Tuesday night, just like she had done hundreds of times before. The lab was quiet except for the gentle hum of machines and the soft click of her footsteps on the polished floor. She had been studying human biology for almost 20 years, and tonight felt like any other night of research. But something was different about the samples she was looking at under her microscope. Lisa rubbed her tired eyes and looked again. The cells were behaving in a way she had never seen before. There was a tiny spark of activity happening at the exact moment when life begins. Something that all the textbooks said was impossible. Lisa's heart started beating faster. She had been researching how humans create new life for her entire career, but what she was seeing now challenged everything she thought she knew. The moment when a new human life starts wasn't just a simple biological process. There was something much more complex happening. She carefully adjusted the microscope settings and watched the same process happen again and again. Each time, she saw the same mysterious activity. It was like watching a secret conversation between two cells. But this conversation was happening in a way that science had never discovered before. The discovery was so incredible that Lisa couldn't believe her own eyes. She had always been a careful scientist who double-checked everything. But this time, even after checking her equipment and running the same test dozens of times, the results were always the same. Something amazing was happening. At the very beginning of human life, Lisa picked up her phone to call her mentor, Dr. Peterson, but then stopped. It was almost midnight, and she needed to be absolutely sure about what she was seeing before she told anyone. She decided to spend the rest of the night running more tests. As the hours passed, Lisa became more and more excited. The data was clear. There was a brief moment during the creation of new life when something extraordinary happened. The cells seemed to share information in a way that went beyond normal biology. It was like they were communicating on a deeper level. By sunrise, Lisa had filled 3 notebooks with her observations. She had discovered something that could change how humans understand themselves and their connections to each other. The process of creating new life wasn't just about biology, it involved something that connected people in ways they never realized. Lisa finally went home around 7 in the morning. Her mind was racing with possibilities. What did this discovery mean for families? What did it mean for how people connect with each other? Most importantly, what did it mean for her own life? She had always believed that science was about discovering the truth. But this truth was more personal than anything she had ever found. This wasn't just about cells and molecules, it was about the most intimate moments of human experience. Over the next few days, Lisa couldn't concentrate on anything else. She kept thinking about what she had discovered and what it meant. She had found something that existed in the space between science and human emotion. Something that connected the physical world with feelings and relationships. The more she studied her data, the more she realized that this discovery would change everything. Not just for scientists, but for everyone. People had always wondered about the mystery of how new life begins, and Lisa had found a piece of that puzzle that no one knew was missing. Lisa started to understand that her discovery wasn't just about biology textbooks and research papers. It was about something much more meaningful, the invisible connections that exist between people, especially during the most important moments of their lives. She began to see her work differently. Instead of just studying cells and chemicals, she was studying the deepest parts of human experience. The laboratory had become a place where she was uncovering secrets about love, connection, and what it means to be human. As Lisa prepared to share her findings with the world, she realized that this discovery would affect not just her career, but her entire understanding of life itself. She had found something that bridged the gap between science and the human heart. The quiet laboratory where she had made this discovery would never feel the same again. Every time she looked through that microscope, she would remember the night when she first saw something that would change how humanity understands its most precious moments. Lisa knew that what she had discovered was bigger than any research project she had ever worked on. It was about the fundamental mystery of human existence and the invisible bonds that connect us all. Her life as a scientist was about to become something much more meaningful than she had ever imagined. This discovery would soon take her on a journey that would challenge everything she believed about science, relationships, and what it means. To create new life. The quiet night in the laboratory had become the beginning of an adventure that would change her life forever. Dr. Lisa knew that her discovery was too important to keep secret, but she also knew that the scientific world would be skeptical. After spending weeks double-checking her research, she decided it was time to reach out to other scientists who could help her prove what she had found. The first person she contacted was Dr. Rodriguez, a brilliant researcher from Spain who had worked with human cells for over 30 years. Lisa sent him her data along with detailed instructions on how to repeat her experiments. She waited nervously for 3 weeks before getting a response. When Dr. Rodriguez finally called, his voice was filled with excitement. He had seen the same mysterious activity in his own laboratory. The cells were definitely communicating in ways that science had never documented before. He was so amazed by the discovery that he immediately started working with Lisa to understand what they had found next. Lisa contacted Dr. Kim, a respected scientist from South Korea who specialized in studying the beginning stages of human life. Dr. Kim was known for being very careful and methodical in her research. If anyone could find problems with Lisa's discovery, it would be her. But after 2 months of testing, Dr. Kim confirmed everything that Lisa had observed. Not only did she see the same unusual cell activity, but she also discovered additional details that made the finding even more incredible. The communication between cells was happening in a specific pattern that seemed to carry important information. Lisa felt a mix of relief and excitement. Having other scientists confirm her discovery meant that she wasn't imagining things, but it also meant that the implications of her finding were even bigger than she had originally thought. Dr. Thompson, a well-known researcher from England, was the third scientist to verify Lisa's work. He was famous for being very strict about scientific accuracy and had exposed several fake discoveries in the past. Lisa was nervous about sending him her research. She knew that his approval would be crucial. Dr. Thompson spent 4 months carefully examining every detail of Lisa's discovery. He ran the experiments multiple times, checked all the equipment, and even brought in his own team of experts to review the findings. When he finally contacted Lisa, his message was clear. The discovery was real, and it was revolutionary. As word spread quietly through the scientific community, more researchers began reaching out to Lisa. Dr. Patel from India, Dr. Johnson from Canada, and Dr. Martinez from Mexico all wanted to be part of this groundbreaking research. Each scientist brought their own expertise and perspective to the study. The international team that formed around Lisa's discovery was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Scientists from different cultures and backgrounds were all working together to understand this mysterious aspect of human life. They shared ideas, compared results, and supported each other through long nights of research. What made the collaboration even more special was that many of these scientists had personal connections to the research. Dr. Rodriguez had recently become a father and was fascinated by the idea that there might be hidden aspects to how new life begins. Dr. Kim had been trying to start a family for years and felt that understanding this discovery might help her own journey. As the months passed, the team's research became more sophisticated. They developed new techniques to study the cell communication and discovered that it happened in a very specific time frame. The mysterious activity lasted only a few seconds, but those seconds contained information that seemed to connect the biological process with something deeper. Lisa found herself at the center of a scientific revolution. Emails poured in from researchers around the world who wanted to contribute to the study. Universities offered funding, and medical journals expressed interest in publishing the findings. But with all the attention came pressure to make sure every detail was perfect. The team decided to spend an entire year just verifying their results. They wanted to be absolutely certain that their discovery was accurate before sharing it with the world. This meant repeating experiments hundreds of times, using different equipment, testing samples from various sources. During this time, Lisa began to realize that her discovery was changing not just science, but also how people thought about relationships and connections. The idea that there was a hidden communication happening during the creation of new life made people reconsider what they thought they knew about human nature. Dr. Thompson made an important observation during one of their video conferences. He noticed that the cell communication seemed to carry emotional information along with biological data. This suggestion opened up entirely new areas of research and made the discovery even more fascinating. The validation process was exhausting, but also incredibly rewarding. Lisa had gone from working alone in her laboratory to leading an international team of brilliant scientists. Together, they had proven that one of the most important moments in human life contained mysteries that science was just beginning to understand. As their research year came to an end, Lisa looked back on everything that had happened since that quiet night in her laboratory. She had discovered something that would change how humanity understood itself, and she had built relationships with scientists who had become like family to her. The validation phase was complete. But Lisa knew that the real journey was just beginning. Now that they had proven their discovery was real, they would need to figure out what it meant for people's lives and relationships. The quiet laboratory discovery had become a global scientific movement that would soon touch the lives of families everywhere. As Lisa continued working with her international team of scientists, something unexpected began happening in her personal life. The discovery that had started as a scientific curiosity was slowly changing how she saw her own relationships, especially with her husband Michael. Lisa and Michael had been married for 8 years, and they had always been happy together. But lately, Lisa found herself looking at their relationship through the lens of her research. She started wondering if the mysterious communication she had discovered in the laboratory might also exist in other aspects of human connection. One evening, while Lisa was explaining her latest findings to Michael over dinner, she noticed something different in the way they were talking to each other. It was as if her research had opened up a new way of understanding the invisible bonds between people. She began to see that human connection might be much deeper than anyone had ever realized. Michael, who worked as a teacher, had always been supportive of Lisa's research. But now, he was becoming genuinely fascinated by what she was discovering. He started asking questions that went beyond simple curiosity. He wanted to understand how Lisa's findings might relate to their own hopes of starting a family someday. Lisa had always approached her work with scientific objectivity, but now she was beginning to feel emotionally connected to her research in ways she had never experienced before. The discovery wasn't just about cells and molecules anymore. It was about the most intimate aspects of human experience. As weeks passed, Lisa found herself staying up late at night, not just to work on her research, but to think about its implications for her own life. She began to wonder what it would be like to consciously experience the mysterious communication she had discovered. Could people actually feel this connection happening? Or was it something that occurred without their awareness? The more Lisa studied her data, the more she realized that her discovery was pointing towards something profound about human nature. The communication between cells wasn't just random biological activity. It seemed to carry information that connected people on a deeper level than physical touch or spoken words. Lisa started having long conversations with Michael about consciousness, connection, and what it means to create new life. These talks often lasted until the early hours of the morning, and they brought the couple closer together than they had ever been. They were exploring ideas that most people never even thought about. During one of these late-night conversations, Michael made an observation that surprised Lisa. He said that even though he didn't understand all the scientific details, he could sense that her discovery was about something much bigger than research. It was about the invisible threads that connect all human beings, especially during the most important moments of their lives. Lisa began to see her laboratory work differently. Instead of just studying biological processes, she was uncovering secrets about love, connection, and what makes us human. Every time she looked through her microscope, she was reminded that science and emotion were not separate things. They were part of the same incredible mystery. The personal impact of her discovery became even more apparent when Lisa started thinking about her own childhood. She remembered feeling a special connection with her parents that she had never been able to explain. Now she wondered if that connection might be related to the mysterious communication she had found in her research. Lisa also began to notice changes in how she interacted with her colleagues. The international team of scientists she was working with had become like a family to her. She felt connected to them in ways that went beyond professional relationships. It was as if the research had created invisible bonds between all of them. One day, while reviewing data with Dr. Rodriguez over a video call, Lisa had a sudden realization. The communication she had discovered wasn't just something that happened during the creation of new life. It might be a fundamental part of how all humans connect with each other. This thought was both exciting and overwhelming. Lisa started to understand that her discovery had the potential to change not just scientific textbooks, but how people understood their relationships with each other. The mysterious communication she had found might explain why some people feel instant connections with others, or why families often share unexplainable bonds. As Lisa delved deeper into the emotional aspects of her research, she began to feel a sense of responsibility. She wasn't just a scientist anymore. She was someone who had uncovered something that could affect how every person on Earth understood themselves and their connections to others. The weight of this responsibility sometimes felt overwhelming. Lisa would lie awake at night thinking about how her discovery might change people's lives. Would it make relationships more meaningful? Would it help people understand the importance of human connection? Or would it create new pressures and expectations? Michael noticed the emotional toll that the research was taking on Lisa. He encouraged her to see her discovery not as a burden, but as a gift. She had found something beautiful about human nature. It could help people appreciate their connections with each other more deeply. Lisa realized that her scientific journey had become a personal transformation. She was no longer just studying human biology. She was exploring the deepest mysteries of what it means to be human. The quiet laboratory where she had made her discovery had become a place where science and emotion merged into something extraordinary. As Lisa prepared to move forward with her research, she knew that she could never separate her scientific work from her personal life again. The discovery had changed not just her understanding of biology, but her entire perspective on love, connection, and human relationships. After months of deep research and personal reflection, Lisa made a breakthrough that would change everything. She discovered that the mysterious communication between cells wasn't just something that happened automatically. It could potentially be experienced consciously by people who knew how to prepare for it. Lisa had been studying meditation and mindfulness techniques as part of her research. It's trying to understand if consciousness played a role in the cellular communication she had discovered. What she found was incredible. The brief moment of connection that occurred during the creation of new life could be enhanced and actually felt by people who were properly prepared. The discovery came during a late-night session in her laboratory. Lisa had been monitoring brain wave patterns while studying the cellular activity, and she noticed that certain mental states seemed to align with the timing of the mysterious communication. It was as if the mind and the cells were working together in ways that science had never recognized. Lisa spent weeks developing a protocol that combined meditation techniques, breathing exercises, and precise biological timing. She realized that couples could potentially experience this moment of deep connection consciously, turning what was usually an unconscious biological process into an aware shared experience. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just about creating new life, it was about experiencing the deepest possible form of human connection. Lisa had found a way for people to consciously participate in one of nature's most profound mysteries, but Lisa faced a difficult decision. She could continue studying this phenomenon in her laboratory, or she could experience it herself. Scientists in her wanted to maintain objectivity, but the human in her was curious about what this connection might feel like. Lisa knew that if she wanted to truly understand her discovery, she would need to experience it personally. This meant having a very serious conversation with Michael about participating in what would essentially be a carefully planned experiment. During one of the most intimate moments of their lives, one evening, Lisa sat down with Michael in their living room and explained what she had discovered. She told him about the possibility of consciously experiencing the cellular communication and what it might mean for their relationship. Michael listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions about the process and its implications. Michael's first reaction was curiosity mixed with uncertainty. He understood that Lisa had made an incredible discovery, But the idea of turning their most private moments into a scientific experiment felt strange to him. He needed time to think about what this would mean for their relationship. Lisa explained that this wasn't about reducing their love to a scientific process. Instead, it was about using science to deepen their connection in ways that most people never experienced. She assured Michael that they would approach this with the same care and respect they brought to every other aspect of their relationship. Over the following weeks, Lisa and Michael had many long conversations about the proposal. They discussed their fears, hopes, and expectations. Michael was concerned about the pressure of trying to have a profound experience while being monitored by scientific equipment. Lisa worried about whether combining science with such a personal moment might change their relationship in unexpected ways. Despite their concerns, both Lisa and Michael felt drawn to the possibility of experiencing something that no other couple in history had consciously shared. They began to see this not as an experiment, but as an opportunity to explore the deepest levels of human connection. Lisa started preparing Michael for what the experience might involve. They practiced meditation together, learned breathing techniques that could help them stay present during intense moments, and studied the biological timing that would be crucial for the process to work. The preparation brought them closer together in unexpected ways. They spent hours talking about consciousness, connection, and what it means to create new life. These conversations helped them understand each other's perspectives and strengthened their emotional bond. Lisa also began preparing the technical aspects of the experience. She developed specialized monitoring equipment that would be minimally invasive but still capable of detecting the cellular communication. She wanted to make sure that the scientific measurements wouldn't interfere with the natural flow of their experience. As the weeks passed, Lisa and Michael began to feel excited about the possibility of sharing this unique moment. They realized that regardless of whether they successfully detected the cellular communication, the process of preparing for it had already deepened their relationship in meaningful ways. Lisa consulted with her international team of scientists, colleagues about the ethics and implications of her plan. Dr. Rodriguez and Dr. Kim were supportive, recognizing that personal experience could provide valuable insights into the phenomenon they were studying. Dr. Thompson was more cautious, but he agreed that carefully documented personal experience could contribute to scientific understanding. The team helped Lisa refine her approach, suggesting additional safety measures and ways to ensure that the experience would be both scientifically valuable and personally meaningful. They also offered to provide support and guidance throughout the process, as Lisa and Michael made their final preparations. They realized that they were about to embark on a journey that would challenge everything they thought they knew about love, connection, and human consciousness. They were nervous but also excited about the possibility of experiencing something that could change not just their own lives, but potentially how all of humanity understood the creation of new life. The quiet conversations in their living room had evolved into a shared commitment to explore the deepest mysteries of human connection. Lisa and Michael were ready to take the next step in a journey that had begun with a scientific discovery, but had become something much more personal and profound. After months of careful preparation, Lisa and Michael had chosen a quiet evening in late spring for their extraordinary experience. The setting was important to them. They wanted it to feel natural and peaceful, not like a clinical experiment. Lisa had carefully set up her monitoring equipment in their bedroom, making sure it was as unobtrusive as possible. The preparation had been intense, but beautiful. Lisa and Michael had spent weeks practicing meditation together, learning to be completely present with each other. They had studied breathing techniques that would help them stay calm and focused during the crucial moments. Most importantly, it deepened their emotional connection through countless conversations about what they were about to attempt. Lisa had calculated the optimal timing based on her research findings. The cellular communication she had discovered happened within a very specific window, and they would need to be perfectly synchronized to experience it consciously. The pressure of getting the timing right was something they both felt, but they had learned to trust each other completely. As evening approached, Lisa and Michael felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. They had been preparing for this moment for so long that it felt almost surreal. that it was finally happening. They spent the early evening talking quietly, sharing their hopes and fears about what they might experience. Lisa checked her equipment one final time. The monitors were designed to detect the subtle cellular activity she had discovered, while also measuring their brainwaves and heart rhythms. The technology was sophisticated, but Lisa had worked hard to make sure it wouldn't interfere with the natural flow of their experience. When the moment came, Lisa and Michael approached it with the same care and love they brought to every aspect of their relationship. They had learned to be completely present with each other, focusing not on the scientific aspects of what they were doing, but on their deep connection and love for each other. The meditation techniques they had practiced proved invaluable. They focused on their breathing and stayed present in the moment. Both Lisa and Michael felt a sense of profound calm and connection. They were no longer thinking about the experiment or the scientific implications. They were simply two people, sharing an intimate moment of complete trust and love. Lisa monitored the equipment readings on a small, quiet display. As the crucial moment approached, she saw the familiar patterns that indicated the cellular communication was beginning. But this time, instead of just observing it through a microscope, she was experiencing it personally. The moment of conscious connection lasted only a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity. Both Lisa and Michael later described it as the most profound experience of their lives. They felt a complete unity of consciousness, as if they had briefly shared the same thoughts and feelings. It was deeper than any conversation they had ever had, and more meaningful than any physical experience they had shared. Lisa's monitoring equipment confirmed what they had both felt. The cellular communication had occurred exactly as her research had predicted, but the conscious experience of it had been something entirely beyond what science could measure. The biological data showed the mysterious cellular activity, but the emotional and spiritual impact was something that couldn't be captured by any instrument. In the days following their experience, Lisa and Michael found themselves changed in ways they hadn't expected. They felt more connected to each other than ever before, but they also felt a deeper connection to life itself. The experience had given them a new understanding of what it means to be human and what it means to create new life. Lisa's international team of scientists was fascinated by her personal account of the experience. While they couldn't replicate the emotional and spiritual aspects of what she had felt, they were able to confirm that the cellular communication had indeed occurred. As her research had predicted, this validation was important for the scientific community. But for Lisa, the personal transformation was far more significant. 3 months after their experience, Lisa and Michael learned that they were expecting their first child. The news brought them incredible joy, but it also felt like a natural continuation of the profound connection they had shared. They felt that their baby had been created not just through biological processes, but through a moment of conscious love and connection that few couples ever experience. Lisa continued her research, but now it had a deeply personal dimension. She was studying not just as a scientist, but as someone who had experienced the phenomenon she was investigating. Her work took on new meaning as she realized that her discovery could help other couples experience the same profound connection she and Michael had shared. The publication of Lisa's research caused a revolution in the scientific community. Her findings about conscious cellular communication during the creation of new life challenged fundamental assumptions about biology, consciousness, and human connection. But for Lisa, the most important outcome was the personal transformation she and Michael had experienced as Lisa's pregnancy progressed. She and Michael often talked about how their experience had changed them. They felt that they had discovered something profound about the nature of love and connection that went beyond anything they had ever imagined. The quiet laboratory where Lisa had first made her discovery had led them to an experience that transformed not just their understanding of science, but their entire approach to life and relationships. The baby, when born, seemed to carry with her the deep connection that Lisa and Michael had shared. Their family felt united in ways that went beyond normal family bonds, as if the conscious experience of her creation had established a foundation of love and understanding that would last forever.